There is a massive, massive strike going on across the nation. Supposedly, I don't know, I'm in the house like most of you probably should be, but there is a massive strike going on with a lot of essential workers. Amazon workers, Walmart, Target, Instacart. And basically, I understand why the strike is taking place. I mean, I'm not even saying it's not justified. Essential workers have become the backbone of our economy. Because of them, we get food. We have things delivered. Because of them, our society is functioning when most of us cannot go out. And yet, they are paid the least out of all the employees. Guy who pushes pencils in the office, who makes like $30 an hour, he gets to stay home and basically chill on the couch because he's not an essential worker. But the grocery store worker gets to has to risk their life to make sure that person can eat. So does the fast food worker, although I would argue I don't know why fast food is considered essential business. It's really not when you get down to it. But that's another video for another day. But anyway, this is happening today. It's happening nationwide. It's supposed to be an unprecedented strike. We will have to see if that is the case. However, who should rain on the parade but Amazon? Because Amazon, of course, has to be their own special little kind of evil. Amazon, keep in mind, is the company that forced warehouse workers to work next to one another, did not practice social distancing, has so far not provided masks and everything, and also fired people who spoke up against the unsafe working conditions. And they did it under the guise like they broke sanitation rules, like they were supposed to be quarantined. Even though Amazon, of course, was not quarantining people. They were not sending people home who were sick. And in fact, when they do send people home, they dock their pay in half. So there is an incentive for people to work even though they're sick. Basically, Amazon has got all the money in the world to do this right, and they will not. Oh, by the way, my name's Kevin, the Apptrepreneur. We kind of got caught up in all of this, but, need to throw that out there. But anyway, so I do, by the way, think it's funny with this article from Recode that Amazon is a huge sponsor of this article. So, there you go. But anyway, this article from Recode is a very special kind of evil again. Amazon is cracking down on internal communication after a surge in worker activism because, of course, they will. Amazon's corporate employees have started to question the e-commerce giant's business and labor practices more than ever before. In response, the company appears to be cracking down. This week, Recode has learned that Amazon has started strictly enforcing rules that limit its employees' internal communications with each other on several large company email listservs, where workers have been criticizing how the company is treating its warehouse workers during the C virus pandemic and have organized protests in response. On Monday, Amazon's IT department notified some employees who manage listservs of more than 500 people that they are required to have employee moderators pre-approve any posts on their mailing list. A rule that the company says previously existed, but several sources told Recode was rarely enforced until now. Yeah, it's kind of funny how those, existing rules that are rarely enforced only seem to be enforced when it suits the company. I'll share an example of which. I know for a fact the Walt Disney Company has like a retirement policy where you have to retire when you're around 65 years old. It's just a mandatory retirement policy. It's to keep people, new blood running through the company. And yet, several years ago, when Roy E. Disney, nephew of Walt Disney, was having issues with then CEO Michael Eisner, he was like over 70 years old at that point. And Michael Eisner decided to invoke the rule that Roy Disney had to step down because he was just simply too old. Get that old guy out of here. And Roy, of course, fought. Eisner was fired. But here's the thing. That rule still exists, and you would think that, hey, after it was invoked for Roy, they would be doing it for other people. But nope, Bob Iger is pushing 70. He's still with the company. Heck, he's probably taken over the company. But this is not about Disney. So Amazon has this rule that says, hey, these messages have to be pre-approved, but they haven't been enforcing them all this time. Why? Because they don't care. But now that people are using Amazon Communications to, plan protests, to complain about working conditions, all that jazz. Now we're going to enforce this because now it's convenient. And look, I'm going to be honest. Since they have that rule, they are legally allowed to do it this way. But it's not a good look. Not that Amazon cares about looking good to anyone. But anyway, employees who create or manage listservs can pick who they want to designate as moderators. But those moderators have to be an L6 manager level employee or above, limiting the gatekeepers of the discussion. So basically, the higher ups who would have every incentive to make sure that these topics were not discussed in the company. A spokesperson for Amazon said its policies about moderating large email lists are not new, but that after a routine audit, the company has started enforcing its policies for all mailing lists that either weren't following the rules or had been previously granted exceptions. Yeah, at a very unique time. Shortly after publication of the story, Amazon's IT department notified Amazon employees who run large listservs that it is delaying making any changes to email moderation in order to minimize disruption of any business-critical email lists per the email recode reviewed. AKA, what's this mean? Hey, people caught on to us, so hold off, step back. We will do this at a later date. Basically, when people aren't talking about it anymore, then we will implement it. Well, once it gets implemented, I will make a follow-up video just to let them know that someone is paying attention. Of course, someone from the inside might have to send me an email with that email saying that they're doing it, so, I need a little help on that one. So, Amazon listservs, which number in the thousands, are placed for employees to discuss a wide range of topics from climate change to parenting. Oh, climate change. Yeah, that might be another reason why they want to close this thing down. Recently, some of these forums have also become places for workers to critique the company's operational handling of the C virus pandemic, particularly in how it treats warehouse workers who have asked for higher pay and more safety protections. Now, I will say, I thought Amazon was raising the pay for their employees. They made a big deal about how they were raising the pay. And yet, from everything I've heard, no higher pay has occurred, leading to believe, or assume at the very least, that Amazon said this strictly to make themselves look like the good guys, and that they had no intention of paying people better anyway. So, one corporate Amazon employee said, "It's obviously and transparently being done to shut down employees' communication. If we wanted to share information about a firing internally or publicize an event, we would need to convince a moderator to let us do it, and that would mean them risking getting fired." Because, once you have these moderators who are told don't let certain things through, if they let certain things through, they might get fired. And no one wants to get fired. It's totally understandable. No one wants to get fired, especially since a higher level manager, they're doing pretty good. They're not waking up with bad backs or anything like that. They like their job. They enjoy their cushy job. And so they're going to look at that. It's like, I'm not putting my neck on the line for you. No way. So it creates a conundrum. So anyway, Anyway, I'm going to share this whole thing, but there's some examples of messages that Amazon did not allow through. And look, this was all done just in time for this strike. These companies do not like this mega strike, obviously, because there is like a huge spotlight on essential workers now. It's really interesting. Now, look, I am not someone who says the minimum wage should be $15 an hour by any stretch of the imagination. I think when you force minimum wage, the prices just go up, and you make a little bit more money for a few weeks. But then inflation goes up, and as a result, the minimum wage hike doesn't necessarily mean anything. Basically, once the minimum wage is everyone's making more money, then everyone can charge more money. That's how it works. That said, I do think it's an eye-opener, really, that it's like, look at all these businesses that were deemed non-essential that pay really, really well. But then you have all these companies, whether you agree that they should be considered essential or not, that is, again, definitely another topic altogether, that are considered essential for people's need to survive. And yet the vast majority of those jobs are minimum wage jobs that pay the least amount possible. That does make you wonder what that says. In fact, I think there will have to be new legislation built. Like maybe the minimum wage for essential businesses has to be a lot higher. And if you want to pay the minimum wage, you have to, at the very least, not be classified as an essential business. I think that would be very fascinating, don't you? But we'll have to see exactly what happens. Again, there's a lot to unbox in this, and I really wanted to focus on this, which, again, this is a scummy thing for Amazon to do, and sadly, it's not even the worst thing they're going to do. We actually have a few Amazon videos over the weekend that we got to talk about because Amazon is just getting that bad. I mean, this story where Jeff Bezos is warning that Amazon is going to lose money during this pandemic, yeah, that's a total PR spin that we're going to be covering on Monday. But anyway, I'd like to ask what all of you think about this particular topic. What do you think about Amazon filtering the email? Well, it's not emails, but, it's their list serves. What do you think about them monitoring it? What do you think about them trying to silence the employees? Do you think it's going to work? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.